Hello and welcome to our second lecture for HRIS. We are looking at the architecture and technology of HRIS. Okay, and our discussion today will hover around the core components of HRIS. We'll discuss on-premise versus cloud-based HRIS. Would also have um, a brief discussion on the infrastructure and database management systems, as well as the security and privacy concerns in HRIS, and then the emerging technologies in HRIS. So basically, this is what our discussion will be centered on. If we say HRIS architecture, what it means or what it refers to is the structural design of an HRIS system. So the structural design of an HRIS system is what we call the HRIS architecture. And it includes the components, the data flow, and then the interaction between the modules. So you have the hardware and the software, you have the components, then the flow of data, as well as the interaction between the various modules. So HRIS architecture consists of the components, data flow, and then how the various modules interact with each other. It defines how different HR functions are integrated within the system to ensure smooth operations and efficiency. Okay, so despite the fact that you have different HR functions, the architecture ensures that they are integrated within the system in a way that allows for smooth operations and efficiency. So there are several components of HRIS. Okay, so we look at the core ones. You have the employee information management, which stores the data of your employees. So you have personal data, the professional data, as well as details on their payrolls. Okay. Then you have recruitment and applicant tracking, which manages jobs. Okay, the job postings, candidate applications, the interview schedules, and then the hiring decisions that are made. You also have compensation management, all right, which automates salary calculations, tax deductions, benefits administration, and then payroll processing, all right. You have the application that tracks attendance and time. So this one monitors employee attendance, work hours, as well as leave records. Then you have performance management, which tracks employee performance, appraisals, and then feedback and goal setting. Okay. We also have the learning and development, which facilitates training programs. It helps you to track certificates of your employees, all right, as well as their professional developments. Okay. Then you have HR analytics and reporting. We looked at all of these in the first lecture in our introductory class, okay, which generates reports and insights on HR trends, the workforce planning, and then decision making. Then you also have the employee self-service portals, which allows employees to access and update their personal records, request leave, as well as manage benefits, okay? So to have this architecture, there are various ways that an organization can decide they want to implement HRIS, okay? So this can be done in two ways. You can either have an on-premise HRIS or HRIS that is cloud-based, okay? If you have HRIS that is on your premises, what it means is that you have the software installed and maintained on the organization service. So right where you are on the premise of your organization, you have your servers installed, and that is where the software can be accessed. So the company has full control over the information there. You have full control over data, over the security, as well as the system customization. Okay, so if an organization decides to go for an on-premise HRIS, what it means is that the organization would have greater control over the data, all right, as well as the ability to customize the system to your use as an organization. Okay, it also gives enhanced security, all right, because once you have data stored within the organization, it means that you can better protect the information that is available to you. Okay, so you can keep confidential information safe without giving unauthorized users access. And then you can also have full autonomy such that you don't rely on third-party providers for system management. What this means is that if you have to perform any function, if you have to customize anything, if you have to work on the systems, it is done by you, and you manage whatever is done on the system. Okay, you don't give third-party providers any access because you may not have to rely on them anyway. Everything is done in-house. Okay, the on-premise HRIS, however, has disadvantages. Okay, and the disadvantage is, the first one is that it has a high initial investment in software and hardware because the organization wants to have total control. And so it wants to install the HRIS within its premises. What it means is that the organization has to take the total cost of software installation and hardware installation. Okay, so it makes the initial investments for on-premise HRIS a little higher. Okay. It also requires in-house IT experts for maintenance and troubleshooting. Remember, if we don't want to rely on external service providers, it means that you have to develop, or you have to be able to provide yourself with IT experts who can help solve your technical challenges as an organization, as well as help with maintenance and troubleshooting. Okay, and then the last disadvantage is that there is limited scalability and flexibility as compared to the cloud-based solution. So if you look at the on-premise HRIS, you have a limited scalability and flexibility, all right? The alternative, or the other option, is to use a cloud-based HRIS. Sorry, the cloud-based HRIS is hosted on remote servers and accessed via the internet. So what this means is that you may not physically see it in the premise of any organization. If an organization is making use of a cloud-based HRIS, it means that they access the HRIS via the internet, and it is managed by third-party providers. These people offer subscription-based pricing and automatic updates. What it means is that the organization just enjoys the service, does not care about any maintenance, does not care about any updates. All they know is that once they have access to the internet, then it means that you can make use of the system. Okay, so just like the on-premise HRIS, the cloud-based HRIS also has advantages and disadvantages. The advantages of the cloud-based HRIS are such that you require very low initial costs, okay? And there's also reduced IT infrastructure requirements. So there's nothing like a very high initial investment when it comes to cloud-based HRIS, okay? Another advantage is the automatic software updates and the fact that maintenance is handled by an external party. okay, or an external service provider. So the organization does not bother itself with regular updates, maintenance, and all of that, okay? And the third advantage is that the cloud-based HRIS is scalable. It is flexible and accessible from multiple devices and locations. Remember that all you need is the internet. Once you have internet, location is not a problem. You can access the system wherever you are. Then you have some disadvantages that the cloud-based HRIS comes with, or it come with, okay? Some of the disadvantages are the fact that there's dependency on internet connectivity. Without internet, you cannot, or without the internet, it is impossible to access the cloud-based HRIS. Okay. There's also the issue of data security concerns due to third-party hosting. Because you have another entity dealing with your information, you'll notice that issues of security come in there. You are not sure if your information is safe, if the third party is doing what they have promised to do and to keep your data secure. And then finally, there's limited customization as compared to on-premise solution. So remember that with the cloud-based HRIS, most of the times the organization does not perform any direct service on the system. And so it's difficult to try to customize the system to fit your organization's need, unlike the on-premise HRIS. Okay, so like we said earlier, the infrastructure or HRIS infrastructure consists of hardware, consists of software, consists of the networks and databases that support the system's operations. So you have a server which stores the data and supports the application processing. You need networking components that would ensure that there is a secure data transfer and communication, right? These are IT staff. We are HR guys, but we still have to we need a fair idea of the um, infrastructure. Okay, we may not necessarily be the people installing or working on these infrastructure, but we just need them. We should know the components that are found in there. Okay, so you have the networking components, then you have the user interfaces, which enables us, or which enables the HR professionals and employees to interact with the system. So whatever is done at the backside, the users need an interface. Okay, and the interface is what helps the HR professionals and other employees to interact with the HRIS. Okay, then there's also the fact that the HRIS is able to integrate with other software. Every organization does not just rely on HRIS. There are other applications for example, there are applications for managing customer relationships. There are applications for managing resources of the organization, for ensuring that resources are managed well. Okay, so there's the need to integrate the HRIS with all other applications that the organization is making use of. Okay, so there's also the integration where you have the various systems integrating together and working as one. All right. Then you have the issue of database management in HRIS, right? HRIS relies on database management systems, and this one helps to store, to retrieve, and manage HR data efficiently. Of course, that's the entire essence of HRIS, the fact that you input information in the system, and that as and when you need information, or as and when you need that data to make decisions, you are able to retrieve it and make use of it in a way that helps your organization. Okay, so there are various types of database management systems. So you can have the relational databases, which are called the SQL-based systems. And these are structured data that are stored in tables. Okay, so you can have these the database or the information that has been entered into the system stored in tables, right? So that is the SQL-based systems. Then you have no SQL-based system or no SQL databases, right? No SQL databases, they handle the unstructured and semi-structured data. Okay, so sometimes you have data that is not structured, it's not in any formal it has not been structured in a table. Okay, and that is where you need the no SQL databases. Then you have the cloud databases, which are hosted remotely. All right, it's very important to be able to manage the systems well, okay? Otherwise, there would not be consistency as and when you need the information to make a decision, it will be difficult to get the particular information that you are looking for. So there's the need for data consistency, there's the need for accuracy, all right? Ensure that the information that is being kept is consistent. When this happens, then as and when you need the information to make a decision, you are able to get something meaningful out of the system. Otherwise, it will not yield any good results when needed. Okay, a very good database management also ensures that there is faster access to employee records and HR analytics, and also complies with data protection laws and organizational policies. Okay, so like we said, because HRIS stores employee information, it makes it a prime target for threats, cyber threats. Okay, sometimes people can have access to the system even though they are not authorized. Okay, and when this happens, there's data breach and employees' information will be taken out there and be used by unauthorized people. There can also be phishing attacks where there are fraudulent attempts to obtain the login credentials of people, of course, so that these unauthorized people will have access into the organization's systems. Okay, there could also be data loss where maybe accidentally or intentionally information is deleted or the system fails or there are cyber attacks that lead to data corruption. And then finally, you can have insider threats. All right. Insider threats is a situation where your own employees misuse or leak sensitive HR information to outsiders who are also not authorized. All right. So to be able to mitigate the risks that have been mentioned, what you can do, number one, is to restrict access based on job roles and responsibilities. So on the system, we will discuss this in detail when we meet in class. What is done is that on the system, depending on the role that an employee plays within the organization, they are assigned access. So if someone does not necessarily perform a particular function, they will not have the access to that function on the system. Okay, so there's a restriction that is access based, and this restriction is based on the job role and responsibility of each employee. So the access that an employee has will be based on the role they are playing. Okay, then there's also data encryption. We know data encryption, where you protect sensitive information from unauthorized access. Okay, then you have regular system audits and monitoring. If we want to ensure that your system is secure, then at at very short intervals, you should be able to perform audits, okay, where you identify vulnerabilities and ensure there's compliance with the policies. There's also the multi-factor authentication. We know about multi-factor authentication. What it does is to add extra layers of security to login processes. And then finally, you ensure that at regular intervals, there's data backup. Okay, so that in a case of any failure or in a case where any damage happens, the business will continue to run. Okay. Then, like we mentioned, in recent times, there are emerging technologies in AR. You have the AI, right? And AI is helping do a lot of things. So you have AI-driven recruitment, you have chatbots for assisting HR, okay? You have predictive analytics, all right? All of these are based on AI. Then you have blockchain. Blockchain, what it does is to enhance HRIS by ensuring that there's data security, there's transparency, and there's verification. Okay? So you can have tamper-proof employee records, tamper-proof employee records where no one is able to maybe amend or work on people's documents without their knowing. All right, no one will be able to delete things that should not be taken out, add things which are not supposed to be added. Okay, so basically you are ensuring that the information that you have kept is it has that integrity that you are looking for. Okay, it has not been tampered with. All right. Then you also have the smart contracts where there's automation of payroll processing and compliance checks, okay? And then you also have the identity verification, which ensures that employee credentials are authenticated. And then you're able to also perform background checks so that you don't have imposters in your organization, okay? So you also have the issue of automation, okay, where manual tasks are automated to improve efficiency and enhance accuracy. So you can automate payroll and benefits, you can automate attendance and leave management, and then you can also automate performance and evaluations, okay? So basically, these are some emerging technologies in HRIS. And our activity that will help us to discuss this in detail is that for each of you, you are to identify a business entity, can be any business organization. But what will make you select that business organization is that it has an emerging technology in place. So it can be artificial intelligence, it can be automation, all right, it can be blockchain. So identify a business opportunity, identify a business organization that has any of these emerging technologies in place. What you have to do is state the name of the organization, right? Where it is located, the nature of its operations, the staff strength. What I mean by the staff strength is the number of employees you have there. Okay, so once you are done giving us the background information, then you state the technology that is being used by that organization and why the organization has decided to use that particular technology. Okay, you also tell us how long that technology has been used. So based on your findings, we can discuss the HRIS architecture into detail. Thank you very much and see you in our next class. Bye-bye.